Hey, thanks for clicking on my video. My name is Rocky, and this review will be for the second episode of the new series Flash. Gonna jump right into what I liked about the episode. Through the entire episode, we basically get Barry going through, a heroic journey. He wants to help people. In the beginning of the episode, he's running all over the place, doing as much as he can, but he's, starting to experience weakness in his body. That weakness becomes doubt later on, and then by the end of it, he's right back to wanting to help people. Now, along this journey, he needs the help of those around him. The people of Star Lab, Dr. Harrison, Cisco, and Caitlin, come to realize that through all his running, Barry's glucose levels are, going all crazy, as essentially the Flash or Barry needs to absorb a large amount of calories to keep up his energy levels due to the amount of burning his metabolism does at such a high rate. So they help him on that end. Detective West, we get a lot of flashbacks from him from Barry as a child, and seeing through his eyes kind of what it was like taking on, a son. He already had a daughter, and now he has to take on a child who just wants to see his dad, who believes his dad's innocent. And he's having to find ways to help the child cope with that. So we get a lot of flashbacks of Barry's childhood, which is awesome. And Detective West and Barry's connection is strengthened in this episode by the end, which is great. It takes Detective West to push Barry back to being the hero that he needs to be. So it's a very classic heroic journey that's presented in this. The villain presented is Danton Black, who's given the name Multiplex by Cisco. It's actually a character from the comics as well. So he's another traditional villain of Flash, as well as some other DC characters. He does have a tendency to keep popping back up, so I would expect to see him later on as well. Regardless of how the episode ended, I think we'll see him again later on. Some other things that were really great about this episode, we have Iris taking on the reporter role. Granted, it's just for school right now, but she's becoming fascinated with this red streak, as the public hasn't called him the Flash yet. They're referring to him as red streak, which is similar to back in Smallville when Clark first started doing things. He was referred to as a blur. So it's kind of the same thing. It's the beginning of the Flash's journey. Something I really love about this show is they capture the essence of Barry Allen and his powers. Barry is one of the few superheroes that actually enjoys having superpowers. He runs super fast, can do all these things, and he gets a kick out of it. He doesn't necessarily have all those brooding moments or feels the weight of the world on his shoulders all the time like a lot of other superheroes do. So Grant Gustin definitely captures that in his acting and his speaking and inflections in his voice and everything. So really love how they're doing that. Really great writing in this episode. Some other things that were really good. We see that Harrison really cares about Barry as well. He's very protective of Barry, which you definitely see by the end of this episode. Still kind of wondering what his whole story is. Still haven't quite figured that out yet. Something else that was really enjoyable in the episode, we see the treadmill. It's kind of a nod to what will become the cosmic treadmill later on, where basically Flash can use it to travel through time, things like that. It's just a nod to the fans on that. But it was kind of funny seeing him basically pass out and crash, so it was good that Cisco put that extra padding down. We also have Cisco, inventing energy bars basically for the Flash. So a lot of really cool things behind the scenes. We see basically the Team Star Labs, or Team Flash if you want to call them, definitely come together by the end of the episode as well, with Detective Flash getting on board with them and just wanting to see Barry be all he can be. So a really great episode. The only thing that kind of struck me is that, kind of was a little off. The actor playing Danton Black seemed a little bit flat in his presentation and his voice and things. And That may have been done on purpose. I'm not sure, but that's the only thing that kind of struck me as a little odd. I'm definitely enjoying the show and loving what they're doing with it. The writing has been great so far. I hope they can keep it up. I know they're planning on introducing a lot of other characters throughout the season, so hopefully it doesn't get too bogged down with that. I loved in this seeing all the flashbacks with Barry as a child and just building on that connection he has with Detective West, as well as Iris. She's always been covering his back as well, even since they were children together. We also see, I love this scene where Iris is trying to figure out what's going on with Barry. And while she's pouring sugar into her coffee, he basically super speeds around her and says most of the things that he wants to say. But of course she doesn't hear that, and by the time the sugar's done, he's back where he was. She had no recollection of what happened due to him running so fast. So just those subtle things showing, how he's using his powers, how he's growing with his powers, but that he has to keep these secrets and it's killing him to keep it. Because he, obviously loves Iris and wants to tell her and just can't. I'm sure he will later on by the end of the season, but we'll see. So let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of this episode of Flash? Also, definitely would appreciate if you'd go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I will be doing weekly reviews of The Flash as well as the other DC and Marvel TV shows. If you appreciated the video and liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share it to whatever friends or family you think might enjoy it as well. But above all, definitely put in the comments below anything you'd like to talk about with this episode. I love talking about comic book stuff and TV shows in general with other fans and like-minded people. So definitely let's go ahead and talk about some things in the comments. That being said, hope you have yourself a great rest of your day. Bye.